Herbie North, better known on stage as North S.T.A.R.R., a Christian rapper whose journey began at just 16. Inspired by hip-hop greats like Eminem and 50 Cent, North once thought God's music was limited to traditional church hymns until he discovered that worship could come alive through rock and rap. His perspective shifted when he encountered a Christian community that embraced music in a fresh, authentic way, showing him that God meets us exactly where we are. Now, North S.T.A.R.R. uses his talent and platform to prove that rap can glorify God and inspire a new generation. You gotta live. You gotta live. You gotta. Yo, my latter years, my greatest years. Shed a few tears, sacrifice, walking my purpose and calling, have no fear. New you, new male, chosen by the Most High. No weapon formed against us can dim our lives. Yes, gotta live for the promised land. Live to see another day. Yeah, you gotta take a stand. Show up, show out, voice to the people. Live to be the best version of self. You gotta live. Hey, what's up, everybody? It is Cara-Mel, and I am so happy to be here. Welcome, LYV family. We have a special, amazing gospel rapper, sensation, North S.T.A.R.R. How are you, sir? How are you doing?
Good. How are you doing, Cara-Mel?
I'm doing good. Wonderful. State to the people where you're from.
I'm from, I live in Jacksonville, Illinois, but 10 years ago, we moved here from California.
Okay. Nice. Look, how's the weather up there right now?
Oh man, it's burning hot outside. Oh my God,
Right.
it's burning.
So, I heard your amazing story, and I just want to share, have this opportunity to interview you so people can hear your testimony. And so we're gonna get to a little bit of personal things, and then also to, most importantly, your music, how you got started, how did you know it was your ministry? So, tell the people a little bit about yourself.
So my testimony started because when I was 1 year old, I was misdiagnosed with a disability, with a sickness. They thought I had the common cold, and turned out that I had bacterial meningitis. But when they figured out I had bacterial meningitis, I fell into a 3-day coma. And when I fell into a 3-day coma, they didn't think I was gonna survive, and they told my parents I wasn't gonna be able to walk or talk like a normal child. But I came out of it by the grace of God. But growing up was super hard for me. I got picked on a lot. I got picked on a lot. They started saying that I got ran over by a car and dropped by a nurse, and that's why I am the way I am. I have cerebral palsy now. I'm deaf in the left ear, and I have a learning disability, and I have atrophy, which means that one part of your body works harder than the other part of your body, so the other part of your body pretty much shrinks over time, basically. And so growing up was really hard. I had to, in order to try to fit in and try to find my purpose as a high school kid, I was getting in a lot of fights, started doing drugs. And my mom, she was raised a Catholic, so she's like, you know what? I'm gonna start taking, in my head, that's what I'm thinking. She didn't start going to back to Catholic church until I started getting in all these fights. And I started to put the two together. Maybe she was taking me to Catholic church to try to change who I was. Because at the time I was this mean. The school suggested I take anger management. And at that point, I had picked on so much. I saw my life going in one and two ways. Going to jail for fighting too much, or being dead for fighting too much, and I didn't even care. I grew up in LA, where if you know anything about LA, there's gangs, there's violence, there's drugs, there's all kinds of stuff. And so I thought that's where I was gonna go, and I didn't even care, because at that point people were picking on me so much that I didn't care where I landed. You know what I mean? And so my mom started taking me to the Catholic church, and not to bash on any Catholics out there, but it's like going to a funeral service every Sunday. And I felt like, if this is the God that my first exposure to God was, I didn't know if this is the God that I liked. You know what I mean? The God that all he listens to do is hymns, and all he does is want you to stand up, sit down, kneel down, and then you had to say your confession to some random priest you didn't even know, and then you had to do all these things in order to feel worthy to take communion. You can't just take communion. You had to be worthy enough to take communion. And so over time I was going to that church to respect my mom, but the Catholic Church kind of made you feel like, well, as long as you went to church on Sunday, you could do whatever you want the rest of the week, and you're good to go as long as you went to church on Sunday. And so that's how I felt. So nothing changed for me. I was just going to church every single Sunday, right? But I was still doing drugs, still fighting, and at the same time, this is who I thought I had to be in order to be accepted with my peers. And so one day I walk in this barbershop. I got saved through a barbershop. I walk in this barbershop, and at this time I was listening to like Eminem, 50 Cent, Snoop Dogg. Eminem was like my jam. He was like, I wanted to rap just like him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Eminem was like my jam. So I walked in this barbershop, and I look into the barbershop, and I seen all this graffiti on the walls. Graffiti, and I always loved graffiti on trains. I always loved looking at graffiti on trains, but I never thought that a Christian graffiti artist had gone in there and tagged up the whole barbershop. And I didn't know there was anything. I didn't know that the Lord could be glorified in that way, because the Catholic Church never taught you that. You know what I mean? And so I sat down, and they invited me to a Christian rap concert. You know what I mean? I'm like, Christian rap? Like I listen to like Eminem and 50 Cent. I didn't know there was such thing as Christian rap. They go, yeah, you should come out. You should come out to a Christian rap concert. And so I went to the Christian rap concert. It was in the ghetto of Santa Ana, California. If you know anything about Santa Ana, California, it's pretty ghetto out there. And so I went out there, and there was a gate in the front and a gate in the back, and they shut both gates. Yeah. But I loved it. I loved it because God was being glorified in a way that I loved, through the music I love. You know what I mean? And so they invited me to church camp. I started going to that church, and I started getting fed through that church. And then I went to their church camp. And it was at that church camp because I get on the bus, and I feel like I'm getting on a bus with a bunch of gangsters going up to this mountain. And I'm like, this is a bad church camp. All these people look like they belong in they're from the hood. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I get up this mountain, and these people didn't care who I was. They didn't care what I looked like on the outside. They didn't care how I dressed or how I acted or what my background was. All they cared was that they loved the Lord, and so did I. You know what I mean? So when I got off the mountain, God was like telling me, you know what, God, you know what, Herbie? All this time you've been trying to find acceptance in the wrong places when all I wanted was you right there, and right there. And so I was like, so when I got off the mountain, I said, God, I gave my life to you, but doesn't mean people are going to stop picking on me. Doesn't mean people are going to stop harassing me. Doesn't mean I'm going to stop fighting people, right? Because that's who I was. I fought all the time. You know what I mean? And as a matter of fact, last person I got to fight with, I almost got arrested for. And so, but it was the craziest thing, because when I went to school the next day, all these people that picked on me, all of a sudden didn't pick on me anymore. They stopped. And I was like, what's going on? Like, what? This guy used to pick on me. This guy used to pick on me nonstop, relentlessly. He picked on me, and now he's not picking on me anymore. And the last person I got in a fight with asked to come to church with me. And I saw these change of all these people around me, and then I kept tripping out. I was like, God, what are you doing? And then the next year, God showed me a Bible verse, Proverbs 16:7. When a man's actions are pleasing the Lord, he makes even his enemies to be at peace with him. Amen. And that's when I saw that, I was like, that's it. That's what happened. No one's picking on me because they saw my change. You know what I mean? And because rap had made a so big influence to me, you know what I mean, to me and my salvation, right? And my salvation, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna start rapping because it can make such a big difference in someone else's salvation. You know what I mean? I rap at secular shows. I rap at secular shows because God said I didn't come for the sick. I didn't come for the healed. I came for the sick, right? And it's so crazy that when I go to these shows, they're like, "You're a gospel rapper. I can't wait to hear you." You know what I mean? You're like, no, I'm not competing for clout. I'm not competing to see who can talk about drugs and fighting and women the most. I'm competing for someone's soul to be saved. You know what I mean? And so that's the story. That's my story, and that's why I rap.
No, that's good. So like, how old, like, when did you realize that music was your ministry? Like, was it at a young age, or like what was that age time frame?
I started at 16 years old. I got saved at 16 years old, and then I didn't take it seriously, but I was rapping for the Lord, but I didn't take it seriously. And then over time, God was like, you need to start making this more serious. You need to start making this more serious. And then I started writing more rap songs, and then God started opening more doors. And then I was like, okay, I see what you're doing, God. I'm going to walk through that door. You know what I mean? And so.
That's good. That's what's up. And now as far as like you progressing and going into your music, one thing that stuck out for me, we got to talk about Superman. When I heard that, I was telling Ray, for those who don't know, is Raymond Baker from Beat Bakery Studios, and he is actually North S.T.A.R.'s producer, or one of them, I'm sure. But what's the concept? How did you come up with Superman?
So Superman was kind of like, because everyone talks about, Aquaman and the typical Superman that that we all know, and then we talk about Batman and all these, but they all have kryptonites, which kryptonite is a weakness, right? But God doesn't have a weakness. You know what I mean? God doesn't have a weakness, and you'll never have a weakness. You know what I mean? And so that's why I talk about him, because everyone, especially this generation is all about superheroes and this and that and the other, but they don't realize that the person that the person that they're looking up to has flaws, right? The person that they're looking up to has flaws. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so Superman talks about the God I serve doesn't have the Superman I serve doesn't have flaws. The Superman I serve forgives me regardless of where I've been, regardless of where I've came from. You know what I mean? And so that's where the concept of Superman came from.
Nice. And then you also too have a feature. Did you want to like shout him out as well?
Yeah, his name, Dean Woolner. What is so funny how me and him connected. So me and him, we went to the same church, and it was so funny because when I first met up with him, he didn't want to rap at all. He's more like a metalhead kind of guy. And I'm like, and then we started hanging out, and I told him I was a gospel rapper. And then he one day he just went home and started writing rap music, and I'm like, you don't even write rap music. That's not even the kind of music you're listening. You like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so ever since then, so he wrote that song with me, and then he moved to Florida. And so now we talk, but we don't talk on a daily no more. But I go, man, you need to get back into the music, man. Superman, everyone loves Superman, and you're in that song, so But we'll see what the Lord has in store for him. I don't know. You know what I mean? Yeah. He's got 2 kids. I got 4 kids, but I still rap. But I'm not trying to say
And we can talk about it now. I see your little one right beside you. Do you want to introduce her to the LYV family?
Oh yeah, this is my youngest, Marla.
Okay, hi Marla.
we got Malachi, we got Michaela, Milani, and Mila. So 3 girls and 1 boy. So pray for me and my boy. There's a lot
That's
of
right.
testosterone.
That's right. The women outweigh.
Yeah, we call them the M&Ms for short. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Nice. So
Yeah.
so before we wrap everything up, is there any upcoming shows that you have? How can people find your music?
So Superman is being marketed by Ray Baker right now. If you look up on YouTube, Superman's on YouTube, and you can find more songs on SoundCloud. So those are always great because I could share the gospel in the dark area. You know what I mean? And those are always fun to go to. Those, because it's so funny. It's so fun to see how the Lord works in those environments.
Yes, all right.
And then I wrote a song for the Ukrainians. And so they the Ukrainian, the war going on in Ukraine. So I wrote a song in Ukraine, or not in Ukrainian, but I wrote a song for the Ukrainians. And so they've asked me to come to St. Louis, Missouri to rap that song for them in front of a church full of Ukrainians. So
wow, look at God.
Those are my events, and then you can always go to North S.T.A.R.R on Facebook to find, to like me or follow me on Facebook. So
definitely, well, we will definitely follow you. And can you spell your artist name for everyone as well?
North, North, and then S.T.A.R.R is S.A.R.R. And S.T.A.R.R stands for Saved Through a Redeemed Relationship.
Ooh, all right. That's nice. That's nice. Powerful. All right. Now, I always ask people, do you want to do any shout outs, family, friends, anyone who's been supporting you along the way?
Shout out to my wife, Toya North. And shout out to my cousin. This is a song I wrote for my cousin. It's called You're More. That you can actually talk. You can actually look up on SoundCloud. This song is on SoundCloud, and she's struggling with drug addiction in Las Vegas and LA. But just shout out to her. And shout out to all my loved ones and my family and my kids, because I couldn't do without them.
Amen. And yes, I know you gotta stay on your toes with 4 children.
Oh heck yeah, man! I got gray hairs because of them. I got gray hairs.
Oh my gosh. So, all right, LYV family. So we will also add the additional handles, so they'll be able to find you. And so I want to say thank you so much for joining and just telling your story. And pretty much I look forward to following up with you and doing like another additional interview in the future of seeing how you're doing and how's your music going and so forth.
Grace up on my lips. I'm being set free. God's power's in my grip. Get the power of the tongue, casting devils out this booth. Yeah, I walk the front lines, Cara-Mel about that truth. Soldier up for the army, got me lacing up my boots, got me scaling up these walls. Sound the trumpet.
Blessings. I know it's been a minute, but I feel like it was time to come up here as I'm taking a walk. Remember, health is wealth, first and foremost. I want to say, sometimes it's important in life, and I've learned definitely along the way, and especially last year, it's important to sometimes push that reset button. And it doesn't matter how many times you got to push that reset button. The important thing, as long as you learn from that process, learn so that you don't make those same similar mistakes, or you don't keep repeating a particular cycle, so to speak. One of the main things I always tell people is the importance of walking in silence. And a lot of that, my reasons and belief behind that is because not everyone is for you. And also too, from a spiritual aspect, you don't know, sometimes we're preparing for our blessing, preparing for what is to come. And we need that time frame of silence and building and being equipped in order to be able to receive the blessing. Or once we are in that blessing and have made it to that promised land, we're able to maintain it and know how to operate and be obedient when we're blessed with certain things. By walking in this particular silence out, that's why I always tell people, there's going to be people that's going to celebrate you, but it's also going to be people that, basically are not for you. It don't matter how much or what you be doing. They just, will be or can be sheep in wolves' clothing, as they say. Or you got those silent haters and so forth. I've been blessed. I've been blessed to have a lot of great support. And those who might be hating in silence, it is what it is, because God always got me. You can't post everything, y'all. And some of y'all don't even realize by doing that prematurely how you can be hindering your movement, by showing people every single thing that you got going on in your life, every single thing you trying to do. Now, it's okay to, celebrate, how God has blessed you, or the success in your life. But I'm just saying, sometimes it's best to walk in that silence for a little bit until it's time and things are about to manifest. So I ain't gonna go too deep in it. I just say be mindful of that. So take your time, do the things that you need to do when it comes to ideals and things like that. Prepare yourself, get in alignment. Speaking of walking and doing some things in the background, for those who've been subscribed to the LYV TV Show YouTube channel, I've been working hard on that one, and been posting for almost the whole month of the return of the TV show. So thank you all for your patience in doing so. Had to take a little bit of a break to get myself in order, but I'm all good and healthy. However, I want to say I appreciate you all who continue to stick around for me and supporting me, because at the end of the day, y'all know my genuine spirit. I don't care about the numbers. I don't care about all these things. If I can reach one person, if I can motivate or inspire one person, then I feel like I've done my work and walking in continuously my purpose. But I do appreciate the support, and those please go to the YouTube TV, the LYV TV Show channel. It is finally up, seasons 1 through 3, and on so you can binge watch this weekend and see how the show has progressed and developed over the years. I can't believe I've done 3 years worth of that show. When I was like uploading the episodes, I was like, oh my goodness. But not to be ranting on and so forth. All right, y'all, I'm about to go up this hill. Woo! I gotta get my exercise on. But what I was gonna say to you all is that season 1, 2, 3 is up there, and you can catch it from the beginning. I started it back in 2021, which is crazy, and it's just been growing and progressing over the years. In between, slight breaks here and there of just making sure I take care of myself. And but yes, please go up there at LYV TV Show. That's LYV as in Victor TV Show. And on YouTube, please subscribe, leave comments. Let me know you're here to support the TV ministry around 2 o'clock, which I've been dropping most of my videos, 2 p.m. EST. You can catch shorts and all these things. And yeah, I ain't mean for this video to be long, but it's been a minute, so it's such a beautiful day, y'all. Just go out and do something nice. And I want to say thank you for so much for your support. And I'm about to conquer this hill.
No! We only got one shot at this! You're right. Eyes on the target. Get the toothpaste and get out! We're not gonna get junk we don't need! We got this! How hard can it be?